So I think cannabis should be sold for, because it's a little more difficult to grow in tomatoes. Not that much, but a little bit. I think it should be grown for 10 times that amount. So for $30 a pound. That's my goal, is for cannabis to be available for $30 a pound. Before taxes, of course. That would be before taxes. So the farmers will get a good return on their money. But let's go now to one of my absolutely favorite people of all time, Liz McDuffie. Welcome to the KCA studios, Liz.
Hello, Lanny.
Oh, you know what? I got to put on my headphones.
Okay?
I can't hear her because I don't have my headphones on. This is because this is the second show and I still don't know what I'm doing. Here you go. Okay. Hey, Liz.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Very good.
Wait a minute. I don't have the headphones on right. Wait a minute. There. Now I've got them on right. Okay. How are you, Liz?
Congratulations on the new platform. It's exciting, Lanny, the radio show.
Oh, well, it's it's a podcast show too, so it can be heard in Moscow if Putin lets them through, and if what's his name?
Oh my goodness!
and Xi in Beijing lets them through. You know, it's really disappointing. You know, I always remember when the computers, the internet came out there, and they were talking about, hey, it's gonna break information all over the world, and people won't be able to block it, and you'll be able to get all nonsense. It turns out that these totalitarian, authoritarian governments can block anything they want. So much for the internet freeing the world. What a disappointment. But anyway, you're on tonight, and and people are going to learn all about the marvelous things that you have done and are doing right now. So I'd like to start out just a little bit, learn a little bit about Liz McDuffie.
Wait, before we start.
Yes.
I got to put my vote in for the robot truck driver. Before we start, I've got to put my vote in for the robot truck driver because they don't get sleepy at the wheel and they don't drink alcohol.
And they don't smoke pot either. Well, maybe they'll make some of the parts.
I'm glad to be here, Lanny. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we are so glad to have you. So, Liz, tell us a little bit about how did you come to have this deep fondness and this deep abide to use cannabis and to make it available to people easily, and affordably?
Well, are you speaking about, probably the best place to, if we're talking about, how we're dealing with the new regulations. So the canvasmed.com that you introduced.
Well, wait, Liz. We're going to get to that. I just want people to learn a little bit about you first. I want them to know about you.
Sure,
so can you tell us a little bit about you?
I was in Germany. You spoke of Germany earlier today. I was in Germany back in 1967, and I was working for the Army there in Heidelberg, and I suffered migraines. And actually, it was a German doctor, Dr. Schnabely, that had asked me if I ever used hashish for my headaches. I mean, she knew it was illegal, but and I found it in Frankfurt, and I tried it, and it was amazing. I could actually function. And before I couldn't function at all once I got these migraine headaches. So that's when I began to read about it and study, what is this? What am I taking? What is this? And then when you begin to read about the history of hashish and cannabis, you have to scratch your head and say, well, what in the hell is happening here? With this medicine, it's been out here for 3,000 years, and I'm being punished for using it, and it didn't make it just ridiculous. So it's always been a cause going back. I've always been very open about my use of it with my family and my daughter. I came to California, after I left Europe. I came here to California because, you could have your ounce, and, you were allowed to have your ounce. And, I had the rich resale store, and women used to come into the resale store and say, is that marijuana I smell? And I'm like, yeah, it is.
What year was this?
I have my ounce here, and I can use it. And as I say, I've been very open about it. And it was very thrilling willing
What year was
to
that
have
that you had? Excuse me,
1998.
Liz. What year was it that you had that store?
Oh my gosh, I still have it.
Oh, I know, but when did you first
Yeah,
open it?
because I opened up the Rich Resale in 1971,
Oh
I
my
believe,
God!
and it's still
Talk about
running
being
here.
a
If you ever
pioneer.
need,
Go ahead.
yeah. I used to tell the women, how do you think I can stand you bitches in here if I don't have this cannabis? So, well, it's a clothing store, a women's clothing store. But at any rate, it's still there, and it's a very successful store. And I'm sure that they still have a marijuana scent in there if you go in.
Hey,
But
Liz,
it's
could you put
great.
your camera on so people can see you? You don't have your camera on.
Yeah, the I wasn't prepared. I mean, I thought it was a radio show. I wasn't prepared to be on
Oh,
video, or I would
oh,
have
okay.
got
All right, all
myself
right.
the loading. It's
Th- th-
but
this is the 21st
radio
century. We have video on radio. How
great
about that?
there. And that's I grew up listening to radio before TV came in. So I'm 81 years old now, and I'm in an interesting crossroads with regard to the last 15 years of my life working in the cannabis industry. Uh, so I left Germany, came back here to Pasadena, and began uh, small businesses. I've always had, small businesses. I'm a uh, entrepreneur. I have a movie company and the rich women's resale clothing and a weenie wagon. And, I've always had these, uh, you know, small businesses. At any rate, when the Compassionate Use Act passed, I was so thrilled to get into the cannabis industry. Here in Pasadena, there was a ban on it. So I opened up an information and resource center. They couldn't deny that license. And that license opened up the world here with uh, people coming from every section of the industry. DJ Short with seeds, and Jeff Raber with testing, and all of these individuals came in and taught classes here. I was teaching the SB 420, so I know it very well, and that's going to be a topic that I'm going to bring up here that is very important with regard to what we're talking about tonight.
Okay.
So, so here we go. We took this SB 420, which is which was really fodder for the court, is what it was. We all got in there and tried to implement the damn thing, and of course, we had to go to court. I want to say something about Carmela Harris here. Uh, she became the Attorney General, and according to SB 420, she had great power as the Attorney General. Brown took it to he took it pretty far. He did the SB 420, giving us the ID card and, trying to put some protections. Still, we were going to jail in droves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Carmela got in there, and she had the opportunity to do something about that. She could have taken it steps further, the SB 420, to assure some security for us. But I'll tell you straight up, she didn't do a damn thing. She left Brown's SB 420 exactly as it was. Not a word changed in it. I think she started out to try to mend it, and so it left us, just thousands of us, going to jail, over this supposedly legal medical marijuana program. So, with that being said, the excuse me, we ran our, dispensaries. I opened a dispensary, the Landmark, so that, for my, teaching my practitioners, I had to have a clinical training. So I opened up a small collective for that purpose, to train the practitioners and work with the healthcare facilities. Of course, working with the healthcare facilities is a tiger by the tail on a downhill pull. You're going into these facilities. Where are the medical patients? They're in residential cares. They're in residential care, 20,000 residential care facilities in California. How do we get to them? Well, we couldn't. I mean, I've been knocking on that door for 15 years.
Well,
And don't get
we
me
find
wrong, I've gotten in there.
well we've
I've gotten in there when they look the other way. But the people that own these facilities are worried about their Medicare money.
yeah yeah
And it was just, that's the stronghold. And they're not going to risk it. So some of them will look away, and okay, if the caregiver's okay with it, the people paying the bill are okay. We don't want to know about it.
Well,
So,
there's a new
but
California law passed by the legislature that does allow those facilities for those patients to pertain cannabis. But you're still right. There's still the problem of federal law and Medicare money. So
well,
that's a
today they
real
have an
problem.
exemption. Those healthcare facilities, I tell them, you've got a $10,000 license to distribute cannabis. You don't even have to get it. You're already licensed as a healthcare. That you're free to give cannabis to your patients. You don't need a license. But still, they don't want to risk that Medicare money. But
Right.
that's going to change very quickly. You do know about the DEA licensing of cannabis, right,
Well, the
Lanny?
Biden administration has supported moving cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which is the same thing as Tylenol with codeine in it. So that would remove the prohibition against medical facilities for using it because it's now a permitted
Well,
medicine.
let me tell you what I've worked with. I have a client. Well, first of all, it was so exciting to me to read that the DEA is licensing cannabis cultivation.
Hmm.
They have 3 licensed facilities here in California, and they've opened up several others in other states. The DEA license, the purpose of it, and they won't work with you unless they don't want to start from ground zero. You already have to have a state license to cultivate. They go in there, it's a cheap license, like $3,000. And the DEA goes in there and they give you a memorandum of understanding and they check out your process of cultivating. And if you meet good manufacturing practices, you get licensed by the DEA now to produce cannabis that only can be sold to a DEA licensed researcher. But these are colleges, universities, these are big time, there's about 850 of them, and there are more coming in every day, and they're not going to get the stuff from Mississippi. They need to, so they're licensing, it's good. Now it meets good manufacturing practices. It now can go into the laboratories, the federal labs that meet good federal laboratory practices. Good. Then because they can't get it into the lab unless it's DEA licensed good manufacturing practices. So now it's into the labs. Now that it's into the labs, they can make the products, formulate them. Next, it goes into clinical trials. And now we have FDA cannabis products. They did not start licensing 2 years ago in 2020 unless they knew full well that the scheduling was changed and they were ready for it. When they changed that to scheduling, where's the medicine? There's nothing right now except that damn Epidiolex.
Yep.
And that's CBD for like 30,000 a year is
Yeah,
what they're charging for it.
it's crazy. You're right.
The point is, Biden's not changed. Biden has, in my mind, nothing to do with the scheduling. The FDA is getting ready for the scheduling to change.
Well,
And
we're waiting
going
for the
to
DEA.
change.
The FDA has gone ahead with it and said it's okay. We're just waiting on the DEA now to remove it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, and they have not done it yet.
Well, they can't until they don't have any. It's got to get through federal clinical trials. They have, what's the product? Where are the products when they change that scheduling?
Well,
What's,
so you're saying it's not going to happen very soon because they haven't done the trials yet?
Well, it's in the labs.
It's in the
It's in
labs.
the
They're
labs.
letting it go out there, but
And then
The thing is that
the
the money is that they're going to reduce it to a Schedule 3 fairly soon. Wouldn't it?
I don't know if it's scheduled, if it's going to be a schedule. I don't know. I don't know. What about THC? That may not be a Schedule 3.
Well, no. What has been proposed is that cannabis be
Who
removed
knows?
from the
I
Schedule
don't know
1
how they're going to schedule it.
and put
But
into Schedule 3. Well, anyway,
what?
we'll see. Hey, listen, wait a minute. I got a caller came in here who wants to talk to you, Liz. So, Eric, you want to put the caller on, please?
Caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Liz, it's your old friend Helen Terry with Serenity Medical
Oh my
Evaluation.
goodness. Oh my goodness. How are you?
Doing fine, thanks to you. I met you when I
Are you
first.
still doing you were doing the doctor's approvals, right?
Correct, correct.
Are you still
So
doing it?
I'm still doing it, and thanks to you and me hiring you as a consultant one time was the best money I ever spent in my life. And you told me how to keep everything legal. When I used to, I had a doctor that I worked with, and when the doctor was leaving after a number of years, I needed to find another doctor, and you taught me what to do to change
Yeah.
what I needed to change to be a marketing company. That I didn't need a doctor. I'm just putting them together. So to this
Yeah.
day, I'm like in 6 or 7 states. Once everything went recreational, people stopped coming into the 2 offices. I had 2 offices running, and once that became recreational, people didn't come to the office. It all went online. And once I went online in California, I said, well, if I can do it here, why can't I do it in other medical states, such as New York and Maryland and Ohio? So over the next few years, I expanded to all of those states. And everything's done online, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. Last time I talked to you, you were getting ready to retire.
Right. I have not yet retired because they keep calling. And we have renewals, and people have been getting recommendations through Serenity Medical for many, many years, since 2008 when we started.
That's
And
great.
it's
That's
still been,
fantastic.
yeah, but it is absolutely thanks to you. I first took a class with you when I was going to open this office and
Yeah,
learned what I was supposed to do. That's how I met you. And then I
Yeah.
spoke to you, and you guided me along the way. And when I had to make the change with the doctor, you told me what to do, and I'm still using what you did. I'm still doing it as a result. So I'm hanging in there. I haven't retired
You
yet
haven't left
because
California,
basically I
have you?
just
You
answer
still
the
doing it
phone.
in California?
Yes, still in
Yeah,
California.
too many doctors left right away. It's too bad. They thought there was nothing left with that the legalization, but they're needed now more than ever. I mean, right now just getting people the DPH card is a little business all itself that you might want to think about advertising because people aren't using the DPH card, but it's handy if you're traveling. You would be allowed to use cannabis in any state that had a medical, a program. So
Right.
that's a good reason to have that card. You can have your gun now with the card. That's not a limit.
Oh,
And
I was
yeah,
wondering about that because
save
people have
taxes.
asked
Yeah,
me that in
save
recent years.
sales
You can
tax.
now have a gun, huh? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's good that the approval business is really good in California. And I hope you'll email me, Helen, and tell me where your website is because the website that I have, we make sure that the patient has their approval before they can work directly with the cultivator.
Right.
The cultivator
Right.
has to know. So please send me that because I can send patients to you.
Well, I'll give myself a plug. It's serenitymedicalevaluations.com, and we connect patients in several different states with doctors, and they just need to go to that website and press get started. And they'll be able to choose what state they're in, and we'll be able to take care of them. serenitymedicalevaluations.com.
Okay. Well, Helen, thank you so much for calling in. It's wonderful for the two of
Thank
you to
you, and thank
connect.
you again, Liz, and nice chatting with you, Lanny.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, this is kind of a good segue into, because she was talking about people need to get their recommendations if they're going to be able to take advantage that being a medical marijuana patient gives them over just being a plain recreational user. And you have a new website called medicalcannabis.com. You want to tell us all about this and what you're trying to do?
The about the cannabismed.com, right? Well,
Cannabismed.com, yes, yeah.
when the new regulations came in, 2018, California's medicinal and adult use of cannabis recreational regulations and safety act. Okay, the medical cannabis. Wait, now what cannabis medical and adult use of cannabis regulations and safety act. In that new 2018 regulation, believe it or not, they kept the old regulations, the medical. It seems to me that the new regulations were really just, they had enough on their plate trying to address how to regulate and license adult and recreational use. And they really turned their head away from medical. I mean, they had the 420, how theoretically people got the medicine prior to the new regulations. Okay, they had that in place. Now they have a new system for adult and recreational use, and the medical can go in there and get it also. But the truth of it, it's recreational adult use and medical are two different animals. It's like the casino and the hospital. It's two, but you can go in there for cannabis, whether you're using it medically or you're using it whatever. In the meantime, what was left for the medical people? If you're licensing these adult recreational, what's left? Oh, what's left is 420. Where were you getting it before? Well, I'll tell you where we were getting it. SB 420 said that anybody in California that wants to grow cannabis, if they're staying within the limits that they set, okay, which is 35 plants, you can have up to 5 patients that you're growing on their behalf. I mean, where are we getting the medicine for patients? Individual cannabis cultivators in California, under the regulations 420, could have up to 5 patients, 6 plants for each patient. That comes to what? 36 plants, 30 plants, plus your own 6 plants. We got 36 plants. Okay? If you're doing 36 plants in an indoor grow, you've got to harvest every 12, 14 weeks there. I mean, that's you producing quite a bit of cannabis. And we've started that back 15 years ago. And along the way, we began extracting. We taught the first CO2 extraction here at the MCC. So now we're extracting. Now we're making products. And we become more and more sophisticated with the products that we were bringing into these dispensaries. Thousands of us. I mean, the Landmark Collective, from our cultivators, we were able to do an extraction and produce a topical for bed sores. I'm in the facilities, and that topical works on the bed sores. I mean, we got to that, and now along comes 2018 and the new regulations. So they're saying, sure, keep doing your bed sores. You're fine. Your products, keep making them. You're still okay to do this for the medical side of it. But guess what? You can't do it through a dispensary. We can't have the dispensaries operating when we're legalizing these adult and recreational uses. And hey, by the way, they can't take your medicine. They can only deal with the other big kids that are city and state licensed manufacturers, testers. Okay, they can't deal with you, the individual cultivators. Now, granted, some of these individual cultivators didn't stay within the limits. Some of them went big time, some of them paid dear prices for that. But basically, the idea of putting a limit on it was to kind of keep us under the radar with the federal government. That's my opinion. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to say you can only serve 5 patients. I mean, if you're a hospice nurse, what are you going to say? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I can do you. You 5 can get medicine, you can't. I believe they made that 5 limit to keep us under, under 100 plants. If we tell them they can grow 35, they'll probably do 75. But, if they get too big, then but still, that's plenty of plants and that you can produce a lot
And
of medicine with
and
35 plants. And if my wife or husband's doing it with me, we got 70
right.
plants.
Now, that's what's so nice about cannabismed.com. Why don't you explain to people how that works and how they can utilize that to attain their
Well,
medicine
well,
directly from the farmer or the manufacturer?
exactly. Well, okay. So we were left without the dispensary. So what do? I went to Cal Normal. I went to Ellen, and you know what? There can't be any whiff of a dispensary here. Has to be one-on-one. Well, you know what? It's too bad we don't have the dispensaries anymore. But the good side of it is we can give this now to patients at wholesale, not to dispensaries that are going to double or triple their money on it. We can make it available right to the patients. It's one-on-one. It's like a farmer's market. And that's what I tried to do with cannabismed.com. I set out originally to do it physically, renting the space, and it was so hairy. The big issue was security. It got too, and hey, COVID put us all online. Hey, so let's get the damn farmers market online. And I created that website for an association of cultivators. I'm a member, who got together and said, we can still provide our medicine. We need a platform. And that's the California Medical Cannabis Association. There's not many members, probably about 11 or 12 right now, but they're local cultivators that had been making medicine like us. And we got together, and the MCC created that website for the association. And you can go onto that website and see the products that the local cultivators are offering. When you see the product and you want to contact them, you just fill out, you have to show you have a doctor's approval. If you don't have one, the website shows you how to do it like in 5 minutes. I mean, it's I could give them Helen's website too, but we use Greenleaf, and you can get a approval in 5 minutes. Because we can't, the thing about cannabis med, to do this, it has to be only for patients, strictly for patients. So we need to know that you have an approval. So we're going to help you get that, and we got the way to get it easily. And you have to upload your ID, so that when we send your email to the grower, he knows or she knows that you are a legitimate patient. And we're done. We get your email. We make sure you have your approval, that you downloaded that. We send your email to the cultivator, verify he or she has it, and we're done. You are now.
we've
But
got
let me
your
say this.
your
Don't
website up
worry.
on the screen here in the studio, showing people how your thing works. So why don't you tell them how it works?
Okay, so you go onto the website, and there's a button there that says find cultivators in your area. Well, it's being launched in Pasadena, San Gabriel Valley area. So that's where you'll see the growers are in that area. When you click on it, it'll show you the products. Then when you click on the product, it'll tell you a little bit about the grower and the product.
Hello and welcome.
And if you're interested in it, right underneath the product is a form you fill out to contact the cultivator if you want to contact them. And you fill out that form, we get the email and send it to the cultivator, and he will contact you.
Or she.
we have quite a few lady cultivators there too.
Now,
But
I notice
that,
it's more than just plants. You can also get extracts and
oh
oils.
yes, oh yes, oh yes, extracts and yeah, pre-rolls and cultivation classes and some really, really fine medicines too. That here you have these you develop these medicines and we have no way to get a license. Even if we wanted to go get a license, we're all in cities that have bans mostly. I mean, it's all locked up. All the licenses are in LA County pretty much. When you go abroad, out, you got all these cities with bans.
But
But
what you're
I
saying here
say,
is that under the law, a
yeah,
person without having to
yeah,
get a license can provide cannabis for up to 5 patients, and they can be reimbursed for the time and material that they put in to producing this product, whether it's bud or it's oils or whatever. And this is allowed under the law, is what you're saying.
absolutely. We can all grow. I mean, I think it's a wonderful. I love when someone comes in to learn cultivation here and they want to grow for patients. They really want to do that, and they're growing on behalf, which they're entitled to do, and they're entitled under the regulation to get reasonable compensation for it. And Lanny, the, a pound of cannabis right now in the industry, as we are now, it runs anywhere what from 1,000, maybe 1,200 a pound for the top of the line.
Yep, yep.
Well, if you're selling that at the wholesale, that can pay, your mortgage note, or it might make you rich, but you're helping someone with clean, you're doing a clean medicine. You're helping with the. I love that growing on behalf of qualified patients, and you can do extractions, and a couple of the cultivators are doing their own salves, and they're wonderful products and so cheap. You can get them so, and you're paying 30% in the dispensaries. They got the city tax, the state tax, uh, and the sales tax.
And what you're
And
saying is because it's medical, there's no taxes.
yeah, well, there's no taxes with the cannabis med except the sales taxes. The cultivator has to collect the sales taxes, um, and look. These cultivators are vetted. We don't put everybody on there. Number one, I'm the compliance officer. I don't want the cartel on it. But these are legitimate local cultivators, and their grows have been checked out. They meet their compliance, and so you can feel comfortable. That they've been vetted. That cultivators don't want people coming to their house to get the product, but they will deliver it. They'll deliver it. And I've also offered the MCC, if you want to have them pick it up here, it's okay with me. You want to meet a patient here, because it's not a good idea, I don't think, to let the patient come to where the grow site is. But that's how cannabis med is going to work. The concept is to save money for patients by giving them a vehicle that'll let them get directly to that cultivator at wholesale prices and have that medicine. And we were making all those medicines for all those dispensaries for 15 years.
And it's like
And
going to a farmer's market where you're buying the tomato and the carrots and the lettuce and the broccoli directly from the farmer who is growing them. And what you're doing here is you are going directly to the farmer who's growing the product or the person that is manufacturing like oils or extracts.
exactly, exactly. Exactly. It's just, I remember when you set up over in Riverside, I thought it was the most wonderful thing I had ever seen. I came into your place and you had the growers there with their products.
Yeah.
It was a farmer's market. It
It
was what
was.
it
It was a
was.
farmer's market of
And you
cannabis,
go
yes.
meet the grower and talk. I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah. Too bad it didn't work out. But anyway, hey, listen, Liz, we're running out of time, and I want to talk about one other thing that you mentioned to me that's just fascinating and it concerns me a little bit. But you told me here you're putting this wonderful cannabismed.com on the internet where you are connecting patients with manufacturers and growers, but you had a visit from a detective from the Department of Cannabis Control. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, yes, I certainly I will. You know, people wonder how Liz McDuffie is up here at the MCC providing, as an individual, providing cannabis to people. I mean, how is she doing that? And so when I did the Cannabis Med website, I put the regulations in a video right on the website so that you can look at the basis for how I'm providing medicine to people. I am a cultivator, number one. So if you want to come in and look at that, you can see it. I have my plants growing. And the regulations allow me to provide cannabis for up to 5 patients, THC. Well, wait a minute, Ms. McDuffie. You have more than 5 patients coming up here. It looks like you got pretty good traffic coming up here. Well, yes, sir, that's true. I'm not in the conversation yet with a detective. I'm giving you the basis for how I'm operating here. Not that I haven't been checked out before. Number one, no one knows how many patients I actually provide THC to. I'm ending the sentence in a preposition. Forgive me for that. But anyway, they don't know. And they're not going to know because that's HIPAA. For all they know, and really in reality, a lot of people come up here and they don't want THC. They're afraid of it. So they only want CBD. So I'm saying that the traffic that you see could be a number of things. It could be a patient that's just getting CBD. It could be someone coming in for consultation, no products at all. It could be someone coming in to find out about the classes. So the traffic means nothing to you. Under the regulations, I'm allowed to have 5. And you know, you want to check on those 5, whatever. I don't think so. I wouldn't think so. Not only that, but you could be working with 5 patients and you may see one patient once and he doesn't come back again. So now you need a new patient. So the point is to stay on the website, cannabismed.com, until you have enough patients that you're comfortable with. But I tell the growers, who in the hell is going to know who your 5 patients are? And let me say this, when they're vetted, let me say this to whoever's selling cannabis. This is important to tell you this. Whoever's selling cannabis right now as a cannabis cultivator, what you are technically is an SB 577 complementary and alternative medicine practitioner. That's what you are. And under the regulations, because cannabis is an alternative medicine, right? And you're providing it as a practitioner, you're referred to under SB 577, complementary and alternative medicine, as a practitioner. The CAM practitioner regulations require that you tell your patient, I'm not a doctor. But this is my service, my healthcare services. What are your healthcare services? They give you an example of your disclosure statement. I make sure everyone in our association has their disclosure statement for their patient.
Yeah. Liz,
Give it,
we're going to have to
they
wrap.
email it to them, they sign it, and it comes back.
We're going to have
The
to.
next
We're going to
thing,
have to
they
wrap.
have doctor's approval. Excuse me, speaking, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We're going to have to wrap this up. The show's over, and I want you to give out your, besides medicalcannabis.com, cannabismed.com, is there any other way that people can get hold of you if they want to talk to you, email you? How can they drop by and see you? How can they contact you?
Of course, absolutely. I mean, I really, I